right. Hi, everybody. We should be up with sound now. Hopefully. And we're going to get started in about 3 minutes for practice. So in the chat here for our class today, I've posted the playlist. And I've also mentioned that we should have 2 blocks for practice. So if you don't have 2 blocks, I always say get 2 towels or something that you can kind of cushion up and make to that size. And that'll suffice for sure. In yin at least. Not always the case in yang because you need a little bit more support in your yang practices. But that will do for our yin practice today. And the playlist today is on my Spotify. My Spotify handle is my friend Simone, all one word. And it's Yin Sunday, August 30th. Wow. Where did the time go? And the playlist is, the link for it is cut and paste in the chat if you're doing this live and you just want to rock that situation. We're about a minute away from practice. You could get your water, you can get your props. If you're not watching this live, you can pause me and come back as you get those things ready, including your playlist. But outside of, watching a video and maybe following along with the playlist today, just remember to kind of cut other things out. So if you're not working with a playlist, get rid of your device and just kind of make the space work for your yoga today so that you can really drop into your practice and essentially drop into yourself. Hello. All right, so it's 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern, and it's time for our yin practice today. We're going to be working at this for about an hour. Hi, husband Paul. My husband's on the other side of the country working. And we're finding a way to be together in this practice. And so that's the first thing that you can become aware of, is all the ways that not only you can drop into yourself, but you can find community. Certainly when you're taking a live class, that's certainly part of it, that there's actually a palpable energy working at something, dropping into something at the same time. But even if you find this class recorded later on, there's still community involved in that. There's still more than just yourself finding a way into this practice and finding a way into your body and your breath. And that works for comfort. That works for knowing that we're on the same page as far as that inquiry of ourselves. All right, we're going to get started. So if you're doing the playlist, you can go in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. A little stringing of the guitar. Lie down on your back body, guys. Let's start our yin. Let's start our practice. Hi, Bella. Dog's off to the side. She might make an appearance, either physically or audibly. as you lay your body down onto your mat, you're taking a pose. You're taking Shavasana. And that corpse pose, right? Corpse can feel a little bit intense of a word, but really all that it means is letting your body rest. There should be a little bit of breathing space at the armpits, so I like to move my long arms slightly away. You should have the palms facing up. I know that sometimes we don't like the shoulds and coulds, but you really do want to externally rotate your shoulders and feel the chest, body, and the upper chest, and that pathway all stay open. And you want your feet to be wide so that your legs can be wide, so that your hips can externally rotate. And you want to soften in your glutes and in your thighs so that, yes, those parts become a little wider. They take up a little more space as they ground down. And whether with this playlist or with your breath, dive in. Just feel for the simplicity of resting. When you breathe in, breathe past your upper chest, even past your midsection, into your lower belly. And you're going to soften the jaw, but breathe out the nose. And slow the breath down so that the exhale invites a slow and steady inhale. If it's slow and steady on the way in out, it can be slow and steady on the way in. One more breath in through the nose. And one long breath out through the nose. You can find a little bit of your voice, your hums and your haws in this practice. It's kind of delicious to do so. You're going to bring the legs a little closer together as we transition to movement. You don't have to make these moves fast. They're slow gestures, they're soft gestures. And then we'll step both feet to your mat. So there's a bend in the legs, knees look up. You should feel a little more grounding through the lower back, almost like your navel drops in and down. And then you're going to bring your right leg in and listen up. Interlock your hands at the middle of your right shin, but just drop your hands there rather than pull. And feel the weight of your hands decide what this is starting to feel like. Yin is very gentle in terms of how you administer the pose to your body. And you don't want to muscle your way into the stretch or the sensation. So notice the weight of the hands rather than the pull of the hands. And take a deep breath in through the nose. And then lengthen your left leg if you're going further into sensation. like you're curious about more. And that doesn't mean that you start to pull on this right leg. You're still staying for the weight of the hands and how the pose just evolves on its own. And let yourself get quiet so that you really notice how your body feels and how your body breathes, how it motions the breath in and motions the breath out. And it may be the case that you start to notice the challenge of being in a kind of place of almost nothing, and you don't need to do, you don't need to will it, you don't need to muscle it, you're just showing up to holding this leg here, but not necessarily pulling this leg. And so the challenge then starts to kind of play with the mind of looking for maybe something to do. You can take 2 more breaths, really staying still to it. And then you'll still keep your hands interlocked at the middle of the right shin. And very slowly, you'll start to make circles with your right foot so that you start to feel the ankle. And you'll even feel the muscle in that right leg start to kind of smile for the movement of the right foot. And if you've been going one way with the circle, switch it up. And one more breath in and out. Stay with your hands to your right shin and just bend your left leg and put the left sole of the foot on the mat. And then try and go for half happy baby as you release the hands and you kick up the right foot with a bend in the right leg. You're going to reach to the outside of the right foot with your right hand. You're going to place your left hand on your left hip. And then just let your right thigh kind of sloppy fall to the right side of your body. Make sure my mic's okay there. And you'll just hold on to that foot in a way that supports any falling of the right thigh to the right side of the body. And that might mean more of a bend on the right leg, or it might mean a little less. And it'll probably also mean that the left knee is falling kind of more open to the left side of your mat. So you're feeling for a lazy leg there too. And it may be the case that you could go deeper with this sensation by lengthening the left leg, the same way you did just before for wind relieving. And if you take it there and it's too much, then take it back. Because you want to take ownership over the pathway of breath in and out through your body without trying to fight for that space. I'm going to take 2 more breaths in what you've done with this pose, in your body, in your expression of this pose today. After you've completed those 2 breaths, you are going to bend the left leg really slow. Put the left foot down on the ground, left knee looks up. And then start to cross, either with the help of your hands or not, your right thigh right over your left thigh. Almost like you're going for eagle legs, but do not bind the right foot behind. And then just try and keep your hips wherever they are and let the outer left calf try and fall to the ground, maybe by inching the left foot more to the right. So the sensation we're going through is for this outer right hip into this right seat. There's a kind of little spread there. And then you could tee out your arms or cactus out your arms and just rest to this pose the same way you would find rest in your corpse pose, and that's Shavasana. And of course, there's a really nice sensation through the right side body, wrapping into that twist. And if you like what you're kind of feeling and even hearing in the body, because you can kind of sense something. If you like that and you want to go deeper, you could look over your right shoulder. And these stretches, so much of what we're doing in the hips on this right side to start, really lend themselves to a lot more flexibility and movement in your day, especially if you wanted to do more, if you wanted to go for a run or a hike or a cycle, right? This is the kind of entryway into those parts of your body that would service all of that. And then at some point here, as you rest to this, find yourself a really audible exhale, whether it's a sigh or a hum or a moan or a groan. And then on the heels of that audible exhale, there's that warmth of an inhale. There's that ability to go a little deeper with it. 2 more breaths in and out. You're going to look your head back to neutral, so up at the sky. You put your palms by your hips, palms face down, and use that press down through the hands to pick up the legs. Uncross the legs. Feel for your hips being more center, even if you have to pick up your bum and shift it to the left a bit, and stay here with a bend in the legs. Breathe in and out. And then just take 1 or 2 beats of legs long, both legs long. And the reason being so that you can kind of see for yourself any shift in Shavasana after doing the work on the right side. For whatever reason, it usually feels like that right side is longer, spacious, right? And it is, but for some reason it sometimes feels like it's so much so. And that's what makes you want to go to the other side and finish the work. Deep breath in and deep breath out. Both feet onto the ground. We're bending both legs again. Both knees look straight up to the sky. Feel the feet, feel your mat. And then as you ground through your lower back and your navel drops in and down again, there's more of a setting through your sacrum body. And then bring your left knee in towards the chest, and you'll interlock at the middle of your left shin, maybe with an opposite grip. And just the weight of the hands here. It's amazing the detail of weight of the hands being enough. You don't have to charge the arms, you don't have to pull, you don't have to grit your teeth. You can settle in. And as I allow for a kind of quiet body, right? A quiet body that is still, so that you can really kind of broadcast all that's happening inside a little more clearly. You'll know whether to go deeper with this, whether to lengthen out the right leg if that's what you want to do. And rest the right foot to the mat and rest the hands to the left shin. Rest. And for this moment or two, as we are here in this shape, if you feel your mind drifting off to to-dos or stories or the weight of the world or all of it, right? I want you to come back, will a breath in through the nose, follow that in for 3. Breath out through the nose, follow that out for 4. And so the simple count of counting in and out breath gives you a purpose that isn't something outside of this practice for right now. See if you might close your eyes here if you haven't already. And as you part your upper and lower jaw from one another, you're going to start to make some circles with your left foot and find that movement in space without your eyes open, without your senses charged up. And you might even slow it down more than that, which is a hard thing to do. And as you go one way, you got to switch it up to go the other way. So reverse the circle. One more breath in and out through the nose. And as you settle your left foot from circling, you're going to step the right foot back onto the mat. Right knee looks straight up. You'll release the hands and kind of kick the left foot up to the sky. So there's a bend still in the left leg. And then reach and draw that left leg in for the reach as you half happy baby. You can put your right hand on your right hip. And then just let the legs fall into place here. They probably go wider, right? And it's finding this sweet spot of resting to this too. So you're not necessarily pulling on the foot, but you're just holding it. You're holding it into a place. And you're not necessarily kicking into the hand, but you're just kind of meeting the hand. When you breathe in, can you draw it past the upper chest and past the mid-torso area? And just go a little deeper in. And then when you breathe out through the nose, you're kind of moving it out from that lower belly space to travel back up the length of the body into a steady manner. A way that gives you a pace to pause and rest. Let's just do this big breath in together. Deep inhale for the count of 3, 2, 1. Hold. Take another sip. And then let it out the mouth. Maybe the case that you made a decision to go long with that right leg because you wanted to go deeper. If you did, you're going to bend it again, right sole of the foot to the mat. And you're going to draw this left leg over the right, cross almost like eagle, right? Thigh to thigh, knee on top of the knee. And then you're going to wide your arms and just let the right calf, outer right calf, fall down. And as you find that kind of opening through the twist, we're also just really luxurious about getting into the outer left hip and into that left seat area. And feeling a kind of pull and weight through the knees. And your left side body is getting that twist as a kind of secondary kind of offering out of that hip. And a real invitation to soften through the parts of the body that aren't front and center in this stretch. So it's obvious that our hips and our seat and our side body are here for the stretch. But could you soften the eyes and the jaw, the cheeks, and let that kind of move the rest of the body into a place of rest? You might take this a little further in the way of the twist and just look over your left shoulder and kind of hang that head heavy like a bowling ball that just rolled over. And somewhere around here, if you're doing it with the music, you've got a little Mick Jagger to give you a nice big sigh. Just let it go without bringing it in necessarily. And if it's quiet in your space, you'll hear the inhale even more so as you draw it in on the heels of that sigh, that letting go. You should be able to really notice how your body gets a little wider to inhale and how it grounds into the support of the mat to exhale. And 2 more breaths here. Be a witness. It's baby steps, real small gestures. You'll bowling ball, roll your head to center as you breathe in and out. You can take your palms and frame your hips to press your palms down. And then pick up with the knees. And as you heel toe or toe heel your right foot more into center, uncross your left leg, both soles of the feet to the mat. Feel the grounding of your lower back. Feel that kind of settle your hips. Deep breath in and out. And then we'll go long through the legs for a beat. And just feel that length of the legs tell you what's what. A bit of feedback here on the heels of opening up both sides. And if you haven't already, just flip your palms up and feel really an open state here, that gesture of rest. And then take your soles of the feet onto the mat. And as you step down, lift your heels and press through the balls of the feet and breathe in for that. And walk the balls of the feet a little closer to your bum with your heels up. And just feel that motion into the ankles. Deep breath in. Breath out. You're going to reach for your prop, whether a towel or a block. And you're going to press into the bum, lift it up, breathe in. Here, pause this. Put your bum back down. Just hold on to your block or your prop, no problem. We'll do that 2 more times. So your inhale presses your feet down to lift your pelvic floor up. Breathe in. And on your exhale, you come back down. So there's an awareness to this. 1 more time. Press through the feet, lift up a little higher. Like you're breaking through a bit of a glass ceiling there. And then exhale, come down. Next step is inhale, come up through the pelvic floor. And then take your prop, and if it's a block, put it underneath your sacrum at the medium height, so that the block goes across your sacrum horizontally to support the width of it. And just feel what that offers in the way of pushing forward and up your pelvic floor, opening up a little bit of space in your lower back and your hips. Palms face up, arms long by your side body. Take about 2 breaths here with your feet grounded on the floor. And then on the heels of those 2 breaths, and only after those 2 breaths, you could get curious about a little more, where you lengthen your legs and you rest your heels on the mat, just like you're taking corpse pose. And again, anytime you take a further step into a stretch, into a shape, it might say very loud and clear, this is too much for my body today. This is too much for me to get a clean breath in and out. If those things are being compromised, if you feel any pain, if you're not feeling the smoothness of your inhale and exhale, you'll want to come out of this to bend the legs, soles of the feet on the mat, and start with the first step of this shape. We're here for just a little bit of time before we're going to take this shape a little deeper. But even if you don't have the long legs, there might be an option for you to go deeper with it. When you breathe in, spread space into your lower belly so that it's almost kind of pulling into the pelvic floor, getting a little wider. That kind of inhale. Your belly should fill up like a balloon high to the sky. And then this is where we go a little deeper. So even if you've got the long legs, everybody step the soles of the feet onto the mat, right? That was our first step. And then pick up the right heel, so you're on the right ball of the foot, and walk the right ball of the foot towards your block and bum. And then you should be able to touch your right heel with your right hand and even grab the foot or ankle. Yeah? And then as you do that, you're going to curl your right toes underneath. This might happen over a couple of tries. And then you're going to put your shoelaces onto the mat when you curl your toes in and towards your head, right? Towards the top of the mat. So that you're not only getting into your right ankle here, but if you let the weight of your right knee fall, you're going to start to feel sensation through the front of your right hip. And I promise you that if you're able to get into this shape, this kind of second step, and if you breathe really boldly, big inhales and big exhales, you're going to feel the magic of it enter the shape, enter the posture. Five concentrated breaths, 5 shifts a little deeper, 5 opportunities to witness, travel in and through. On the heels of that 5th exhale, take your hand to your right foot, help your shoelaces out, untuck right sole of the foot down. Yeah. Let it hang here for 3, 2. And we'll go right to the other side. Pick up the left heel, walk the left ball of the foot a little closer towards your block and bum. And then reach your left hand to your left heel or your left foot. And maybe there's a couple of tries of this. Sometimes there's a bit of cramping in the toes. As you find it, tuck your shoelaces to the mat. So you tuck your toes in. Feel the energy of your ankle just kind of open up there. And try and let the weight of your left knee hang heavy. It's always going to feel pretty mega on those left toes and into that ankle. But as you kind of sit with it or investigate it, it starts to soften into a place where you start to feel the energy shift. Shift to a little more possible through each breath. And again on this side, we're 5 more breaths. But really, 5 huge breaths. Get really investigative about bringing it in big. Big inhale. Maybe audible exhale. The heels of those 5 breaths, you're going to take your left hand to your left foot. And you're going to try and uncurl those toes out slow and steady. Put the left sole of the foot to the mat. Take a beat there. And as you press into the feet very lightly, just change the height of the block to the lowest setting. And then come down 1 step. And enjoy that 1 step down. It's probably going to feel a lot tender on the lower back. But as you step down slow, you'll feel a little release too. And take 1 more breath here. And then a little bit of press into the feet, enough to slide that block out really slow. And bring your bum down. And as you bring your bum down, guys, wag both knees a little left and right, like they're window shield wipers, and move slow so that you can kind of feel those spots in between to the lower spine that are tender. I'm going to do it a couple more times. And then you're going to get back to center with the knees. Soles of the feet are on the mat still. Keep your hands out of it. You'll just put your palms down, right? On the ground, on your block, whatever it is. Pick up both knees into towards the chest. Your hands are out of it. And then move your knees. Whether they're scissoring a little back and forth or circling. And you should be able to feel a steering of energy. You're going to keep your legs kind of suspended here, up in the air with your feet off the mat. And you're going to take your blocks and slide them underneath your feet about. So you might look up and see where that is. And it's kind of about a foot away from your bum. So that when you put your feet down, they're now in front of your blocks. And then when you put your thighs down and lengthen your legs, your thighs are lifted a bit to ground your lower back in a restful shavasana. It should feel kind of sweet and supportive through the lower spine and all the work that we've done. Take a deep breath in, get to the top of that inhale, balloon belly and chest. Hold. And then out the mouth. In and out through the nose after it's out the mouth. You're going to pick up your head, press through your elbows and your arms, and you're going to prop your heart up on your forearms to the mat. And then walk up slow into a sit with your thighs over these blocks. And as you keep these blocks underneath your thighs, right? I want you to kind of maybe walk your sit bones back so that you could ground your sit bones a little more to the mat. And then find a kind of good support where it doesn't hurt your legs with these blocks or your towels, whatever your props are, underneath your thighs. And with the grounding of your sit bones, you find the expression of a long spine. And then put your hands here on your shins, right? There's a nice restful kind of place there. And there's a little tilt of your heart forward to tilt your pelvis a little forward as you sit up onto these sit bones. And then give your hands a little bit of something to do. They suddenly become kind of feet, and they kind of walk up towards your toes. And it creates a fold here. Where you can eventually just feel a really relaxed rounding from the lower spine up through the whole spine. And I just want to enter here and feel this for about 2 breaths. We're still going to stay. We're going to take one more inhale into the upper back body so that you can stretch it as though your lungs are just receiving it from there. And then a little sigh out or hum out. And then walk your hands back up towards your knees and round out slow. So you've just entered kind of the first phase of that shape to feel. And then maybe situate your blocks a little bit closer to behind the knees. So there's still that lift. And draw your legs a little closer together, but not zipped up. Put your hands on your shins again, and then start to create the rounding and walk forward through the hands. And it may be the case that you can layer your forearms here and cross your shins and knees so that you can tuck your chin in and rest your forehead to your arms. And then having entered it once, we're going to stay here for longer. And you're just going to have to find a way to get really into your breath, in and out through the nose. And into that breath, there's that possibility of surrendering to this shape. Just like the song would kind of suggest if you're with this playlist, there's a lingering here. There's a kind of hanging out. And it's in that willingness to just be that you'll start to kind of feel for what's available. And passing breath, it's probably going to mean a heavier head, whether resting on the arms or resting into space. And as you heavy this fold and you soften to it, you want to be aware that you're not gripping with the hands or gripping with the teeth or gripping even intellectually with what you think you're trying to find or make it be. Move through a few breaths here together. Breathe into the upper chest. Inhale. Exhale from the upper back. Breathe into the mid-back body. So much so that it wraps across the ribs. And breathe out from the mid-front body. And then again, go towards the back body, but breathe into the lower back, the lumbar spine, into the base, the sacrum. And then send it out and off from there. And then 2 sides. You got to get an inhale. And then you got to get another inhale. Get to the top, take another sip. And then maybe a moan or a groan or a hum. You can peep your head up, either out from hanging in gravity or off your arms. You can take your arms apart from being layered if that was you and reach towards the feet and almost kind of pull the ankles or push into the ankles. And then as you grip from the ankles up to the calves, a little massage on the way up, you'll roll out. Slide the blocks out, guys. Take yourself to lie down. Enter slow and bring your feet to butterfly's pose, cobblers. Soles of the feet are together, knees are wide. If you're tight here and your inner thighs are screaming quite a bit, prop it up. You can put blocks at any height to the outside of your thighs. And if you like the stretch and the kind of persuasion to go wider and wider, You could put your blocks resting on your inner thighs. As you've entered the pose and found out what's going to be for the next 2 minutes with your legs, you could also add on with arms overhead, but a very big bend in the arms. So there's complete rest, corpse style rest through the elbows and shoulders as the arms rest down. Travel through your next 5 breaths completely still, completely soft within the expression of your face. Getting out of this pose is a really very soft, slow-paced exit. You're going to start to bring your hands forward if they're over your head, and you'll remove any props from being in the way of getting out. I put my hands to my outer thighs or knees, and then you help your knees close like a book, so you don't have to do that all by yourself. And out of the bend in the legs, you step one heel at a time to a corner of the mat. And you let all the work of the hips just kind of echo, echo, echo into this final offering of Shavasana. Should be a lot more accessible to externally rotate the hips and be heavy, wider through the thighs. Yes, we want wider. Yes, we want heavier. Yes, we want wider through the glutes. We want that rest. Stay as long as you can, as long as you need, and maybe longer than you want. Thanks, guys, for joining. I'll be back here again on Wednesday and Friday and Sunday of the week ahead. You can enjoy any classes on this YouTube channel. All the classes are by donation if you can, and don't sweat it if you can't. So please enjoy the mat above and beyond, excuse me, all. Just really allow. Stay as long as you can, as long as you need, and longer than you want. Lots of love. Namaste.